Hey guys, welcome back to the Vignette podcast. I'm Josh with Paparazzi Imaging and Films. This is episode 13. As you can see, we have Raycer Frank. He's one of the biggest influencers on the snocross circuit, in my opinion, with his son Raycer. Great family. He's just jumping back into snocross. He raced snocross in the 2023 season with Raycer Racing. So welcome on the show.
Thank you.
Pumped to have you on.
Yeah.
So let's kind of jump back into it. Like I said, you came out of retirement this past season, and you told me earlier, what was it, 20?
About 19 years it was that I was out. Pretty much just focused, on Raycer. So basically it was 19 years since I was on a snowmobile. I mean, I rode his snowmobile and stuff, basically from, the line to the pits and stuff like that.
Right.
But other than that, I really didn't really trail ride or anything. Raced dirt bikes all the time, and stuff. That I never did quit. But on the snowmobile end, it was very, very little. So coming back this past year was a big challenge. And once getting on the snow, saying is one thing, but getting on the snow is a whole different thing. And these machines don't react anything, like the dirt bikes that I'm used to. So it was a challenge this last year, and a big learning. It was fun, but it was a challenge. But I enjoyed it, and I definitely am really pumped for this upcoming season.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you put up some pretty decent results for coming back and just jumping on a sled.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some of it transfers, I believe, on the dirt bikes. We see a lot of, the pro riders and down, ride dirt bike throughout the summer. And I stay on them, as much as I can. And some of that does transfer over to bikes, but for the most part, I feel that they don't, they ride very differently. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing I noticed on the sleds to the bikes is that the bikes, to me, are a lot smoother. Sleds are set up so much harder on the suspension. It's like riding they're like rock hard suspension, but that's what you need, that's what you need to be fast. So, it was a learning curve, but definitely fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I'm sure, like you said, going from dirt bike riding to the sleds definitely helped that transition.
Yeah.
Even though they're two different machines,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't ride one like the other.
No.
They're completely different.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing I noticed too, is just because I spend so much time on a dirt bike, throughout spring, summer, and fall, is that, the first thing I want to do is my mind when I'm out there. I was up at Shearings for the first time this year, mm-hmm. and first thing I wanted to do is put my foot out, and look for a rut.
Right.
It's like, where's the rut? That you're gonna come into the corner. There is. It's
right.
just not the same. They don't tip over. You want to lean that bike down where the sleds don't.
Right.
You can. Have partially through the season, you start to be able to throw it differently, and it's a whole different feeling. It's just almost like a lot of people say, like snowmobiles are like a backwards tricycle. You got two skis in the front and one in the back, they don't react the same, and I feel they're pretty much twice as heavy too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, dirt bike is what, 300 pounds? The sled is 6 and change?
Yeah, I would say bikes, the 450s I run, they run about 225, mm-hmm. and then the sleds, around that 500 pounds. So it's quite a difference, on that is just the weight alone.
Right.
So, and then the power too, the power, everything is different, the way it reacts where, on the bikes that I run, the throttle response is right there, with the traction. And I suppose it all depends on the track too. Mm-hmm. Each track is different, and different dirts will hook up better, but still, the bike I feel is going to react a lot faster than a snowmobile does.
Right.
So that's just my opinion, everyone could be different. So
how, coming back out of retirement, what was the last sled that you did ride?
The last sled I rode for Polaris the last year of 2003-2004 season. So I had the 2004 Pro XR 440.
Okay.
So that was the last year that they made that sled before they came out without the trailing arms. Right. So we had the short seat. And we had, I don't know if you remember those, if it was too far back, but otherwise.
I remember those.
Okay,
yeah.
They had the flames on the hood that came factory right from there, and 440, 110 octane fuel in there, and
Jeez.
it was a fun sled. She zipped along pretty good. Mm-hmm. But the sleds now I don't think they really compare, on how well they perform comparable to the old ones and
right.
stuff. And even riding some of them, the older ones just for fun, like we were talking about earlier at the Tri-5 race for Levi Lavalle's Tri-5 race, and getting on that old thing, of that era.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God, how did these guys ride these things? Especially the seats are so dang low. So
Yeah, 100%.
transitioning from sitting to standing is just like, here, it's like, alley-oop, here we go. Try to stand up. So yeah, that's the one big thing I did notice. I do like the new stuff. And like I said, my whole career before Raycer was born was all Polaris. And
Good to know. I didn't know that.
yeah. My family was an Arctic Cat family forever.
And you're the oddball out.
And I was the oddball. Yep. Yep. All the way down to my great grandpa, who my son Raycer is actually named after. His name is Ray, and that's why we spell Raycer's name Raycer.
Got it.
For that reason. But they were full blown Arctic Cat family, and that's what we've always grown up on. But again, same thing where it's just like be the odd man out, and I went Polaris, and that's where I raced. But then, and that's where we started on racers with the 120s too. He's, on the Polaris 120, he started, and we were on there. And then once he turned 8, as soon as I could get him off 120, we moved on to the big sleds, which I still have up there on display, which was the Snow Pro 500 Arctic Cat. And Arctic Cats had such a great junior program at the time, one of the only ones, and that's what made us lean and move over to Arctic Cat. Once we started with him and built a relationship with those guys and how much they brought to the kids in the junior program and everything, it's just like, gave me no reason to ever leave.
Right.
So that was kind of the reason why we transitioned to Arctic Cat and have no reason to ever leave.
Right.
So they've been a good family to us.
That's awesome. That just shows your dedication to them as well.
Yeah.
Where they're gonna, reciprocate that with you guys.
Correct. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a good relationship to have. And Raycer's been on Arctic Cat since, like you said, and he won a Sportlight Championship.
Yeah. I mean, he started, like I said, when he was 8 on Arctic Cat. We knew it was going to be tough, kind of at the beginning, because that class back in the day was 8 to 12.
Yeah.
So that's a big jump from 8 years old to 12 years old. We knew it was going to be a struggle, but the 120s were tough. And even though we were on the stock class, there was quite a few people that were always bending the rules and basically making a stalker, more than what it should be. So we, once we got him on, if we could get to him big sled at 8 years old, we got him on there, and it was a little tough his first year. He was about a mid-pack rider.
Yep.
But by 9, he was making his way up to the front, and by 10, he was winning races. And so started with that. In those classes, he got on all the way through the junior classes and everything, and he was being pretty successful in those. We actually, junior 10 to 13 was our first big national win that we got. That's where we actually met one of our good friends now, was David Otto. So I credit David Otto for kind of big success for Raycer. That's where a lot of his success, I think, came from in the later years, for getting where he was at because of him. Met him one year at Geneva. I talked to Mike Cleddy, our race manager up at Arctic Cat, before Geneva when he was 13, and just asked him. Raycer was just missing that little bit, little bit. He was always that number 2, number 3 rider,
right.
And we just could never get the one position in that class. So Mike said, "Go talk, go in the semi, talk to us at Geneva." All right, so went over there, and I hate asking people for help. And so I finally just made myself go in there, and there was a guy, I didn't even know who he was. It's David Otto, I found out, and him and Steve Hool helped work on Raycer's sled that weekend, and Raycer won the Lake Geneva National when he was 13. Jeez. And so that's kind of where it started. It went from there to that summer. I got a call from Scott Holla, which owner of Trelo Motorsports. And we raced out of his semi the next season with Matt Pickner, Raycer, and Tucker Holla, were those 3 out of there. Got a little plagued with injury that year, had a broken wrist at the beginning of the season at Duluth, and then we made it a little ways longer, babying that wrist. Yep. And then we went over to mid-season was the Michigan National, and then ended up fracturing his foot. And it's just like, it was just injury after injury. And as soon as that foot healed up, it just like something clicked. And I kind of knew what it was. You know, you don't like to admit it, but you know, when you get this opportunity into a bigger team, you know, for being a kid, it's just like you almost feel like you got to ride above your head to prove yourself.
Right.
And I feel that's what he was kind of doing. He was just trying to ride so hard, you know, to do his best, and it kept biting him. Well, after that last injury in Michigan, it just went from there, something clicked, and I mean, he was fast, and it just went from there, and he started podium, one after another, junior 14, 15, 16, 17, and sport light, and that's when he was 14.
Holy crap.
And then we went to the next season where we decided it was just going to be me, Raycer, and David Otto, running out of a privateer Articat out of our own trailer. And so we started there, and we never quit from Geneva right there, because he did end up winning Geneva at that last one when he was 14.
Yeah.
And again, for the second time in a row. And then we decided to go out like that. We never quit our training all summer long. Worked with Dave, got everything ready, and we went into Duluth, you know, pretty confident and not knowing kind of where we are, even though we worked really hard at it, and he went out and just won. I remember that at Duluth. I mean, that was the year of the big snowstorm, if you remember.
Yeah, yeah, where they canceled it.
Yes, yep. So we did get to run the first day.
Yeah, but the second day, the mountain was covered
Correct.
in snow. It was
Yep. It
insane.
was a crazy thing to get canceled because of snow, but it was a lot. But yeah, he came out swinging that year, and first day in Duluth, sport and sport light, he won all his qualifiers. He was ones in sport and sport light. Then ended up winning the sport light final that night, and then I can't remember. I think he took top 5 in the sport class, and it's like, holy crap, we're onto something here.
Right. This program is working.
This program is working, yeah. So worked really hard, and you know, throughout the season, and he did really well. He won the majority of the sport light classes, and did really well in the sport class too. Was always right up there, and got on the podium a couple times in sport, and won the Minnesota regional in sport and sport light also. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit.
Oh.
And if you remember, we drove all the way to Michigan to sit on the starting line after practice. We were ready to go,
call it.
and they called it.
Oh.
And that was, you know, knowing right there, you know, it's kind of sad to look back that was the last time that Raycer was on a starting line.
Right.
Was right there. That was our last opportunity for that, because after that was the, you know, season was over,
right,
and we started dirt bikes, and that's where his accident happened.
Oh man,
so
not a good year.
No, that was, and that's why it was kind of hard. Like this year when we went to Cannonsburg, just because the last time I was there was Raycer was on the starting line. So that one was tough. A lot of mixed emotions and stuff at that race, just because knowing that was his last opportunity and he didn't get it. So. Right. But everything went well, you know, still took a top 5 there and everything, so it went good. So
a little redemption.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was, we dealt with some weather there last year, as you remember.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the rain and the snow and
it wasn't the best conditions.
It was not the best conditions. But hey, Ice Hawk did a good job at it, you know, and made the best of what they had.
Yeah, they always tend to come through with the worst weather. Even if it is negative 40, they still put on a show.
Still put on a good show.
When we go to Fargo.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it gets pretty cold up there. I feel we were pretty fortunate last year though with the weather though. Aside from that race, I just feel that it was a pretty mild winter. You know, that we had some good weather last year.
Yeah. 100%.
Otherwise, I mean, like the year before, I think, you know, I hadn't, you know, just watching you guys on TV yet because I hadn't started racing. Right. But otherwise, yeah, I just remember the bitter cold that you guys were dealing with out there.
It was so cold. But there's people out there, and I think I've said it on the podcast, that some people will say it is just so brutally cold that I don't even want to do snowcross anymore. Yeah. Just because of that. And I'm like, don't be such a sourpuss. Yeah. You know, you got into snowcross because 1, it's cold, 2, you like the challenge, and 3, you love snowmobiles. You know, I would do that over and over again because it challenges me. Yep. You know, that's what I take away from it. Whether it's negative 40 or not, I've done it. I've gone to Canada and it's been a negative 40. My eyelashes freeze together because it's so cold. Yep. But I would go do it again. You know, I think that's just the craziness that's in me.
Yep.
And that's in everybody else too.
Yeah.
You got to be crazy to race a snowmobile. You know, a
Some
600
days I think so.
yeah, 600-pound sled compared to a dirt bike.
Yeah.
You know, twice the speed, twice the tracks are bigger on dirt bikes, but you're still taking the same challenge.
Yep.
You know, regardless of which way you look at it, but yeah, we're all crazy in some way, shape, or form.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And for you to come out of retirement at 19 years of not racing a snowmobile, you're kind of crazy too.
That's what I felt like, honestly. At the beginning of the year last year, I was contemplating my decision a few times. You know, I was doing a lot of practicing up at Shearing's up there, and the rhythm section has always been my kryptonite. You know, that's the hardest part, and you don't realize how hard those technical sections are until you get out there. And looking at them from the side is easy for a lot of spectators. It's like, well, that don't look too hard. It's like it's a whole different world when you're looking straight down that lane.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that landing is taller than the takeoff.
100%.
And it's just like you got to get that the rear end of that snowmobile up high enough before you get to that, or you're getting bucked, which I did a couple times. And that's where like I said, I was a few times I was contemplating my decision where you're getting bucked over the bars because you didn't get your rear end high enough, you didn't brake hard enough off there to do that. But I'm glad I stuck it out. There was a few incidents, like even at Fargo last year, I decided to do the regional with my son Raycer before the national, the weekend before.
Yep.
And just kind of wanted to get a little bit under me, at least one race in there. And qualifying went good, won the qualifying in that regional my first time out, but then in the final ended up getting bumped by another rider pretty hard. And it wasn't his fault in any way. Actually pretty good friends with him and his dad, and they are great people, but it's just a mistake, it was, and got me in the knee pretty good, and I fully tore my MCL on my knee.
Oh, just because of that incident?
Yep.
Oh, that sucks.
So went to the orthopedics and stuff like that, and they said a time I finally did go in, because I was waiting to see how it reacted and stuff, that they said you're past surgery, so let's see how it heals. So they said wait. Well, that's just not what I do. Right. You want to race. So I waited a few weeks and taped it up, put a knee brace on, and started practicing. And after that, it still wobbles, still makes noises and stuff like that, but it works.
Yep.
And we end up getting to race the season. So the only one I did miss last year in the Pro 30 class was Fargo.
Okay.
And of course, that one had to be a 2-round series because we only race once every national.
Yeah.
So that really hurt me in the points. So I ended up 4th in points for the Pro plus 30. But like I said, was missing 2 rounds up in Fargo. So that was unfortunate. But hoping to stay consistent this year and try to maybe make my way into the top 3 this year. That's the goal.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, because when you reach on the podium, that's when you give back to Wings of Life, right?
Yeah, yep. So I kind of made a deal with a bunch of people and businesses around the area, actually around everywhere, that people reached out to me. And I kind of came up with this thing where if I made the top 3 on a national race, that they would donate a certain amount of money, and first, second, third's worth a certain amount. So when I did hit those podiums this year at the national series, 100% of that, all that money goes directly to Wings for Life. And if people don't know, that's for spinal cord injury research. So what they do is they're trying to find a cure. They donate money to people all around the globe that are doing research to find a cure. And when they find these certain people and certain companies or whoever that are doing that, they donate large amount of funds to them to find a cure. So that's it sounds bad, but we just know there's certain big companies out there that don't want to see certain things cured because it's a lot about money.
Yeah.
So as these guys do, these guys are a private company, and they're going to find a cure. And the amount of following that Wings for Life has, you would see that people that are involved that are trying to get this thing cured.
Yep.
So we're going to do it. We're gonna keep trying hard, working with Wings for Life, and along with the Lavalleys, Levi and Kristen, and their help guiding also for this. And we're going to see if we can do even bigger this year.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I think just that alone, hearing that these people are dedicated to finding a cure is really big. Because like you said, there are companies out there or corporations that don't want to find a cure. You know, and it's sad because these people, like we talked earlier, it's like, what if they did find a cure and these people can eventually start to walk again, or, you know, be able to do the things that they do love before their spinal injury?
Yep.
You know, because that's awesome. I would love to see that.
Yep.
You know, I would love to see Raycer get back to his full potential because, you know, Wings for Life found a cure.
Exactly.
So where can everybody can find them on the web, right?
Yep. So if you go to wingsforlife.com or Wings for Life on Instagram or Facebook, they're all on there. And you can, even if you want to just go and donate, you know, like a few dollars, $5, you could go right on their website and it shows you can where to send a check, or you can just put a credit card in there, and $5 that's all you really need to do.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. And you get enough people doing that. And that kind of brings me into the subject for like this upcoming season. I do have a few ideas that I'm throwing around and having some meetings with different people with, is trying to get something like that going, where just a small donation, you know, that just shows that you guys want to be a part of this and want to be a part of finding a cure. You know, and it's not only like we talked about earlier for Raycer, but, you know, Blair Morgan, Paul Thacker, Doug Henry, you know, all these people, and there's so many in our sports that have these injuries. It's just like, let's do it for them.
Right.
You know, and it's, even if it's something as a couple bucks, or someone wants to do a large amount, you know, everything helps. But the more people we can get involved, the more people we maybe would throw a few dollars that way to help.
Absolutely. I'll throw a few dollars.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
as
saying?
you did last year too. You know, you helped us out last year, and you know, when we had those stickers also, and you know, we really appreciate that. That's all we asked for. And by, you know, you donating that, you get kind of a sticker in return, show, you know, and you get to advertise it, and you put it right on your case. And
Yeah, absolutely, I did.
So, you know, that's all we're looking for, is just something as simple as that. And that just brings awareness, and the next time person's like, comes to you, it's like, hey, what's that sticker for? And then you explain, it's like, hey, I want to be a part of that.
Right.
And then it just snowballs, and there you go.
You build a community.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so guys, check it out, wingsforlife.com on the web, on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media platforms, and also follow Ryan and Raycer on Facebook, Instagram, and all the social media platforms, because they're a great family. So going back to Raycer's injury, that's now what, 3 years?
Yep, April 25th of 2020. So it's been 3 years this April.
Yep.
It's been already. Time flies.
It does. So kind of talk me through the process. What were the emotions like for you and the rest of the family, the doctor visits, the rehab? Because that is a huge thing, especially for you to see your son go through.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I hope I never wish this upon anybody, you know, any family to experience something like this. This was absolutely horrible, you know, a parent's worst nightmare. You know, it's just a normal day, you know, that we were heading to the track up at Moto City in Staples, and to go practice up there, which we've raced and practiced there many times, one of our favorite tracks. And Raycer just got off that championship season, so he was hungry he wanted to go to Loretta's. That was his goal, is to just make it to Loretta's. Wow. And so he was training hard, and he was looking really fast. He was actually rode a little bit with like Avery Long, if you're familiar with him. He rides for Monster Yamaha, and he's actually our neighbor. He only lives about a mile down the road. Doesn't live here. His parents and his brothers live here yet, but he is actually down south training, you know, and you'll see him on there.
What a small world.
He is actually Avery's mom, Alicia, is who we credit Raycer's success in school from getting through school with a racing life, because she has a son that does the same thing in moto.
Interesting.
So yeah, she did a lot for him. But getting back to that, typical day. He was running hard, and it was getting to that point too, where at his, when he was 15, and that he wanted to beat Dad. That was his main thing, is that Raycer was getting right there, and it was everything I had, and I held him off, I would say, for about 4 laps that day, when we just first started. And all of a sudden, he gets past me, and I remember heading down a straight stretch, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw something to the right of me, because it's you go down, it's a 180, and you come back to a set of whoops.
Okay.
And so I was going so fast coming in the corner, I just saw something out of my peripherals, out of my corner of my eye, and when I went around that 180 and coming into the whoops, and there he's laying in the middle of the track in the whoops.
No.
So I threw the butt, you throw it down as fast as you can, you run over there. I'm like, you okay? And he's like, Dad, I can't feel my legs. And I'm like, okay. As a parent, you don't, I try not to show emotion because I don't, want him to stay calm and everything. So, the thing I said to him, like, don't worry, we'll get you fixed up. Basically letting him know that, as a parent, we're gonna fix you. Don't worry.
Right.
So they got the ambulance out there, and we got him up to the ambulance, and they realized we needed air support immediately. So helicopter came in and flew us from this track in Staples down to North Memorial in Robbinsdale, and we went there where he had emergency surgery. To get the pressure off the spinal cord, which you find out later, the more you research and the more you are part of this stuff, you realize that time is of the essence in spinal cord injuries.
Right.
Minutes can change everything of what you can regain back if it's not severed, which Raycer's was not severed. It's damaged. And most people's injuries, they're not severed. Some are, but most of them are not. They're damaged.
But it's that time frame.
It's that time frame. The longer you keep pressure on a spinal cord, the more damage you're doing to it. You got to get the pressure off immediately. So that's why air support is so crucial. So went down there and had emergency surgery, and then he was in the ICU there for 2 weeks. We stayed there. It was absolutely miserable. It was up all nights. Everybody has their breaking points. Some more than others, some less. But I hit mine, a few days in when no sleep. One night where the fluid was building up in his lungs, and for us, anybody that has fluid or anything when we have a cold or say something like that, you just cough.
Right.
No big deal. Well, where Raycer's injury site is, that he doesn't have that diaphragm anymore.
Right.
So he can't cough hardly at all. So he was almost drowning in his own fluid, in his own stuff that's going down his throat. So
oh my God.
That night sticks out so much. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. They're basically giving Raycer the Heimlich maneuver, pushing on his abdomen and try and tell him to breathe out as hard as he can to get that stuff to come out so he can breathe. It sounded like gurgling, and he's turning blue, and because he can't breathe, and it's just, I could go on and on with the stories those first 2 weeks, and it was just horrible. So, but long story short, we had, COVID was the worst thing too, because we're dealing with COVID at the same time as this is going on, so he can't get hardly any visitors. It's just me and his mom are the only ones allowed because he's a minor. If he was not a minor, we would not been allowed in there.
Right.
So since he was 15, we could go. We'd each spend every other night there, and then we'd switch off. We did that for 2 weeks until they moved him over to Gillette Children's Hospital in St. Paul, and that's where he was for a couple more months.
Holy crap.
So
he had to be sick and tired of freaking hospitals. Same with you guys.
Yes. It was, but
it sounds like a horror movie.
It was. As bad as it was, the people at the facility, along with people in snocross in our community, made it better.
Yeah.
There was like Amanda Anderson, that does racing with her family, her daughter in particular. She organized a big parade for Raycer, and that was pretty cool to see. The amount of people that gathered that day and came down with their snowmobiles and signs and balloons and everything and did a parade, right down the street. Because of COVID, we couldn't go outside, but they had a skyway, and they drove right underneath of us on the skyway and honking their horns and holding up signs.
Awesome.
And
I remember seeing that.
Yeah. Carol Levin did a special on there. They were there filming, and Raycer had no idea about this. And I remember I'm like, at one point when we were in his room that morning when they were ready, I'm like, Raycer, let's go for a walk. Let's just walk down to the Skyway, something to do. Okay. So we get there to the Skyway, and all of a sudden there's cameras set up everywhere. He's like, oh, we can't go down there. I'm like, no. I'm like, they're videotaping something. Don't worry. Right. So we get down there about halfway where they're set up, and I just have him like, let's just watch out here or whatever. He's like, why? And all of a sudden, they come around the corner, and David Otto was in the front with his family, and Raycer's sled in the back. And coming down, it was really cool to see. And then it never stopped. It just kept going and going. And the amount of people that came that day was just all waving at Raycer. So
that is so cool. That just shows the community is really it's about family. You know, there's competition, but it's also family too. You know, everybody's there for each other, and that is awesome.
At the end of the day, everybody is there to help each other. You never want to see anything bad happen to your competitors.
Absolutely not.
And that just shows you right there that how many people that just, you're never going to be left behind.
Right.
And they didn't.
Right.
I mean, I could go on with the stories from the people that, you know, that ordered in, like the Katoos, ordered in all the sandwiches for all the staff one day, you know, at the hospital.
Wow.
To help out. And I could go on and on with the people that just helped out and sent things. And I feel so bad too, because there was a lot of messages I didn't get back to in those those few months in there, because there were so many coming in, and it was everybody concerned and asking how they can help, and nothing to do with like ignoring them. It was just the fact that I just couldn't get to them, keep up with them.
Yeah.
So I just always wanted to let everybody know that too, that it's just like, it was seen, you know, we did see it, we did appreciate it, you know, and we just ran out of time.
For sure.
Yeah, so once we were in there for a couple months, then we finally got out in the middle of summer, and he finally got to come home. And the first day he was home, I mean, we were home within 30 minutes, and he already wanted to ride the four-wheeler. So the first day I had him on, I was sitting on the back with him, you know, holding him, but he was driving the four-wheeler around. Yeah. So when you go that long with haven't seen your house in, you know, almost 3 months, you haven't been home, and you get home and you get to see all your toys and all your stuff. And I mean, I remember the first thing he did actually when he got out of the truck is he rode his wheelchair right over to his dirt bike that he crashed on, started it up, and started revving the motor.
Really? Holy crap.
So yeah, he missed it a lot. So, but you know, other than that, he got into physical therapy for a couple years. And he did that for a long time, went through all of everything, trying to relearn as much as he could back. He just recently finished up with the last one, Fit for Recovery, down in Hopkins. And now he's just full-time, me and him go together. He's kind of learned everything, what he needs to do to strengthen and stay maintenance what he has. And now me and him, he comes with me Monday through Friday. We go every day for an hour.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And it keeps him, you know, he keeps his positivity up, you know, that much more. And have the doctors said, yeah, he can gain a little bit more now from PT? Like, is he gonna get his mobility 100% back or 90%? What's the percentage on that? So
it's pretty low. At first they only give him 3% to ever move anything below the chest. That's where the C6 spinal cord injury is on Raycer, is the chest level. Even though that the break was up in his neck, up here, it affects it at the chest line.
Right.
So he can move his fingers and stuff like that, but he can't actually grip anything.
Right.
So he can move his legs, he can stand, you know, he can walk slowly with a walker, but he has regained everything that he's able to. So they say on spinal cord injuries is that you can gain small things up to 2 years. After that, you can basically only maintain and strengthen what you have. So right now, Raycer is basically out of time on that. He's regained everything he could. But right now it's up to him to strengthen, and like I said, we're looking for a cure.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Well, the recovery never really stops.
It doesn't. Not with these. You got to stay mobile, you know, just with anything. I mean, if you didn't move your legs or arms for even a few hours, you know how stiff they get.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing, is that he needs to be moving every single day. And but he does, you know, like I said, we do go to the gym, you know, an hour almost every day, and he goes in there and he does everything, you know, and we transition. We do legs, you know, one day, and then we'll do arms, core, you know, all that stuff. But from where he started with absolutely zero movement, it's pretty phenomenal where he's at now.
The progress, yeah. Yeah, and you guys are documenting that to a T, right?
Yep, we document pretty much everything. I do a lot of videos. I mean, it's just, you know, I keep them on my phone, and anytime I have an opportunity to take a video of him, so we can always look back to see where he started and everything, and it's pretty cool to see.
That's awesome. And when you initially told him that you were going to come out of retirement, did you tell him that you were racing for him?
Yeah, so that's kind of the whole reason was behind it, was that where Raycer all of a sudden mentioned that he wanted to maybe try regionals, because he did one regional not last year but the year before at the end, and ended up taking second in that day at the last one of the year. And so we kind of threw around the idea of racing, and he always kept bugging me. He's like, Dad, you should do it again.
Oh,
and I'm like,
so it was his
yeah.
idea.
And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I've always wanted to, but I'm like, it's a lot of work. And just the way that, I've taught Raycer and our kids, my girls, everybody, is when we do something, we do it full on.
Right.
There is no, and it's kind of a classic saying is, you don't half-ass anything.
100%.
So when I'm in it and he's in it, or my daughter's in their sports or anything like that, we go everything we have. So we kind of threw it around there, and kind of had a family meeting a couple times with my kids and my wife and everything, and it's like, well, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. And I feel we should go for something, be a reason for it,
right?
Instead of just going out there and racing. Well, like I said, with Levi and Kristen Lavalle, they've been very involved with the Wings for Life program. Levi has ran for Raycer every year, or has ran for that. That's where we got the idea about it, and we kind of ran with that and decided that's what we want to do. So we kind of talked with them and what our idea was, and they thought that was a great idea, and kind of helped us get it all set up for that. So we did that, and that's how we ended up racing last season. So I just feel racing for a cause, I just feel it's a good thing.
Right. 100%.
Always having a cause behind it.
100%. Yeah, and everybody's going to back you too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's cool. So he did get it back on a sled. You mentioned he did a regional, but he also did get on a sled at Canterbury and race against Blair Morgan.
Yep. So that was actually his first time back on a snowmobile, was that race. That was kind of his coming out.
And that was done on that sled, right?
Yep, that was his sled up there. That was done on that one. That's actually the one that he won the big, the Sportlight National Championship on. And then David Otto and Mike Schultz from Biodapt, if you're familiar with him,
Yep.
All helped put that snowmobile together for him.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I just kind of had an idea that I was throwing around that I'm like, well, your first race back, let's just make it, let's build some awareness for this. So I'm like, what if you would get to race against someone else that suffers from this injury, like Blair Morgan, and not only has that injury, but he's one of the most well-known riders that has ever done this sport.
Yeah.
So
the GOAT.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like the Ricky Carmichael of our sport. And,
next to Tucker Hibbert.
Yep, exactly. And so I, just off of a whim, I decided to message Blair one day on Instagram, and he messaged back and said, heck yeah. So let's get it set up. So talked to Snocross and got them, and they were 100% on board, and it kind of went from there. And so we put that race together at Canterbury as his first race back against Blair, and just for fun. And so that's what we did. And it was just a 5-lap race, and that was his first time back, and it was really weird to see him out there, because the last time you're out there with your son, he's very in the competitive class, and the national starting line, there is nothing that compares to a national starting line.
100%.
It is, especially at Canterbury, the way they have it set up and the big lights, you're looking at the crowd, and then seeing him back on there, back on the hot start again, the sleds are popping, and it's just like, holy crap, we're back.
Yeah.
So that was a cool feeling to see him back on the line again. Just seeing him on the line, and not to mention against Blair Morgan at the same time.
Yeah. How many people have gotten that opportunity?
Exactly.
Yep.
And yeah, Blair was such a cool guy. He was, so fun to talk to and everything. And any information that Raycer had or questions, or he was so willing to help, help him with that and answer his questions, about his injury and things like that. So it was really cool getting to know him, over that time and still. So
100%.
So yeah, that was his first time back. And then, like I said, he did end up doing that regional at the end of the season there. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Are you guys planning on doing that again this season?
For sure, I'm going to be racing again.
Yep.
But Raycer, unfortunately, as he grows up, he's starting to realize certain things. And with snowcross, as we talked about, it is such a rough sport. I mean, it is not a forgiving sport.
Yep.
And with having to sit in that chair it's not working out for his back. So those impacts are in his back are hitting so hard that it's actually pinching a nerve in there. So what happens when it pinches a nerve, we feel pain, but Raycer doesn't feel the pain, but it makes his legs spasm. So they actually shake. And so with that, it puts him back on his training. It puts him back on his progress in walking because he can't control his legs anymore because they're shaking so bad. Right. So we tried a couple races last year and practices, and every time that we did it, he had that happen where it pinches that nerves, and he actually goes backwards because he can't walk for like 3-4 weeks. He can't walk because his legs are spasming so bad. Wow. So it's unfortunate because he loves doing it, but I told Raycer also, I'm like, if you just drive a little slower and not hit the big jumps, you could still ride, but that's not him. Yeah. It's just like you go from his level and how fast he was to just rolling everything. That's not him. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it'd be hard for me to do it too, just going out there and he's like just competing. Yeah, it's hard to slow a guy down. It is. When they're there. It's just like, used to be so good, and so fast, and now I'm rolling everything. Yeah. So it's either that, and when he did, he had a couple big jumps last year, when he was running, and it's just like, holy crap, that's impressive. Yeah. And people are like, you see racers hitting those big jumps? It's like, yeah, but he's taking a toll on his body. Yeah, 100%. So 100%. I remember that weekend at Canterbury, there was like so many people holding up signs. And, like, I took a picture of it because I was just like, that's incredible right there. And he beat Blair. And I could just see that he was like on the gas. Yeah. Yeah, he told me before he went out there, he's like, I'm gonna hit that finish line jump. I'm like, that face on that jump it's steep. So I'm like, to clear that jump, Raycer, you're gonna have to go like really high. Yeah. I can do it. And he did it. he went out there, and him and Blair stayed together the first part of the race, and then he decided to really hit the throttle, and oh my God, and up he went and cleared the whole thing. Crazy. So, and the difference like his is I actually sat in his snowmobile before, and sitting down and jumping stuff is a whole different game. On the adaptive sled? On the adaptive sled. Yeah. Because now you are locked into this snowmobile. Yeah, you can't move. He's like, you can't see over the hood. So he's like, when you're racing, you're standing. You can see over the hood. You can see everything. But 100%. When you're sitting back there, you can't see. You can barely see over the handlebars in front of you. You can't see what's below you. You can't see when you need to pitch. You can't see when you're going to pull the brake, the throttle. Wow. You're just basically blind and hoping for the best. Right. So. Oh, thank you. Yeah, exactly. I went out on a couple little ones at our house here, and I'm like, nope. I'm not doing that. Crazy. So. Yeah. That's crazy. And talking about Blair, he still goes to autograph signings. He does, yeah. Does Raycer ever go to autograph signings? Yeah, so he was there last year for Articat. He'll be there again this year. We go to Heydays every year and stuff like that. And it's amazing on how many people come up to him when he comes to the races and stuff that want his autograph. And that's just huge for him too, to see that these little kids still coming up and people coming up that want his autograph and everything. And that's really cool to see. And kind of like Blair and everything too, I love that he still comes to all the big events and races and takes the time with the youth. To me, that's one of the most important things is taking your time, not only with the youth racers, but the youth the youth fan base, because those guys are our future, whether that be racing or spectating. 100%. And you have no idea the impact you just did by taking that a couple minutes with those children and actually signing autographs, talking with them, show them your trailer, show them your snowmobile, and everything. And I love the faces, of kids that get that opportunity. Right. Yeah. Because there's not a lot of that really anymore. Yeah. And it kind of sucks. Yeah, I mean, I see some of them, and I'm very impressed by some of these younger riders that take the time. The one I actually had to shoot a message over to like Jordan LaBelle last year too. Yeah. I said, I see that you're taking the time with these kids, and that is just huge. You have no idea what you're doing to them by giving them the time. Right. And I am so impressed by you doing that. So, that's just one of many, that I've seen and everything, but just knowing Jordan over the years and stuff is that, it's awesome to see that.
100%. Yeah, and he's a rising star already. He's like the Hayden Deegan of snowcross.
Yes,
you
yep.
know, and he's gonna impact a lot of people, just like Elias. You know, just like everybody else that's come through the years of snowcross. He's gonna be one to remember in the record books,
Yep.
and people are gonna be like, I want his autograph because he's a, you know, badass rider.
He is. Yep. No, yeah. He's got a crazy amount of talent and his speed, and he's got a good personality to match it. So,
100%.
you know, we wish him nothing but the best for the future.
Yeah, and the rumor is that he's not going to be with Warner. I don't know how true that is, but I think he's moving on from Warner.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I haven't really heard anything on that part of it yet. It very well could be, but yeah, it's hard to say. There's a lot of crazy changes this year, and it's interesting what's happening and everything, and it always plays out. You know, every year we always have these big rumors going around and everything, but then it ends up working out, and we have a good season.
100%.
But this year there's a lot of changes, especially with the teams dropping. You know, a couple teams dropping, new ones coming in.
Yep.
It's gonna be weird to see what's. It'd be fun to see what's gonna end up by the time we start.
Right, I know the silly season is definitely true right now. You know, it's hitting hard with everybody. I'm sure all the press releases are going to be, you know, when this video posts or this podcast posts, it's going to be like those are all irrelevant.
Probably,
right now, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But the snowcross industry is changing a whole lot. You know. And what's your take on that with the new teams coming in and the like Hench's closing doors, all finish closing doors, you know, everybody moving around. There's rumors that Elias is going to a different team. He's not going to be with Thien. Like I said, Jordan, I think he's going to be landing at Thien. I don't know. But that was the rumor before the season ended. And that Monster might be going over to Skolquist because of Hench's closing doors. You know, they're all speculations, and I've talked to Levi Injured, and he's like, you know, I can't say anything about it because it's not true yet. You know, and I'm like, yeah, I agree. The rumors aren't true until there's a press release out. So what is your take on the whole silly season and everything?
I don't know. We keep seeing new things, you know, almost daily it seems like this month, where it's just like something new is happening, new teams coming out, you know, along with teams closing up shop, which is, you know, like we talked about earlier, some of them are, you know, you could kind of see and justify because of being in it so long, like Hench's, but, you know, other ones, you know, as all finished, it came to be a little bit of a surprise with being so new and getting so involved so fast, and then just to pull the pin on it, that was a bit different. But, you know, they have their reasons, and, you know, we can't judge on that because it's the owners, you know, they got to make the call. And so we got to respect that too. But otherwise, yeah, I'm really interested in seeing what the rest of how it's all going to play out. I know there was even some rumors going around about crate check racing. I did hear quite a few people kept messaging me and asking me, and along with our team, is that, you know, about us too. And it's like, no, we are, you know, 100% racing this year. It's going to be my teammate Colton crate check, who's going to be running along with myself in the Pro Plus 30, and then our youngest would be Owen Idy, is going to be racing with us again this year. Hopefully, another talented kid. He is a great kid along with his family. You know, it's so fun having those guys out there. He's got a lot of talent. Had a little bit of bad luck last year with the foot, you know, breaking his leg and everything. That was too bad because he was so close to the podium. He had so many times that he was right there, and just something unfortunate had to happen, which we all know in racing. And I even told Owen and, you know, and stuff. It's like we were there, you know, Raycer and I.
100%.
We've lived through this. It gets better. You have a streak of bad luck, and just like that, it's back.
Right.
So I really feel that Owen's really gonna get some good results this year. Coming back strong, having the summer to heal up. So should be fun.
Yeah. What were the rumors that that crate check was going to close doors?
Yeah. So I kept getting this thing about, you know, people are texting me and messaging me. It's like hearing that they're, you know, closing up, you know, shop. They're done snowcross and everything. And it's just like, no, well, just having conversations again, getting ready for the season and everything, and we're all ready to go out there and everything. Colton is actually out running the side-by-sides this summer on the off-road series, which is doing a phenomenal job out there. I believe they won the last 3 out of 4, and we're going to go watch them this weekend at ERX. So excited to see him out there. But yeah, he's kicking butt out there. So, but yeah, those are the rumors we heard, but it's just, setting everybody straight on just with anything. I mean, who knows where, it's just no different than high school.
Right.
One thing is this little thing, and then by an hour later, it's turned into something that's not even close.
Right.
So.
100%. Yeah. Rumors are fun.
Yeah.
Rumors is definitely fun. And the other rumor was that the All Finish, they obviously couldn't come up with a deal, but them pulling the plug. I can't remember what I was going to talk about with that, but
sure. No, we all get there.
But it was them pulling the plug, and what the hell was it? I can't remember now. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Yep. But there were so many reasons of why they pulled the plug and whatever. It was such a small time frame. They were only in it for 2 years.
Yeah.
That's what it was. So what really shocked me is that their first year, they had a good first year with Benham.
Yep.
I think they won the Dominator at Fargo and whatever. They won a couple races, but it's like you got to give it time. Just like you were saying with Raycer, he developed that ability to come over the adversity and get to that next level. I don't think they were to that step yet. You got to go through the trials and tribulations in order to get where you want to go.
Yep.
You can't just spend all this money and expect to win. You can't buy a win.
No, that's true.
It comes from a sled and it comes from the rider.
Yep.
But it also comes from the team that wants to make a win. But again, you can't buy that win.
No,
that would be that would be cheating one, and you really wouldn't be a true winner.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, no, it takes an entire team, to win, and I think they had all the components there, and everything to it. It just, I think sometimes it takes more time, to do that, to learn it all, and
it's a skill.
Yeah, there is a lot more, and just at our level that we race at, but then the pro level like that, I couldn't even imagine, what goes into a win there. It is so hard. Everything has to be just so precise, and it's hard to comment on, where they were at because, they, like I said, they had all the pieces there. It's just that there's a lot that goes into it, and one little mishap could cost you the race.
Yeah.
A split second on the line, and you're in the mid packer in the back.
Yeah.
And just if everything ain't on, and there's a lot to figure out, on cats, in general too. There's a lot to figure out on those machines.
Right.
We Polaris and Skidoo have a very good machine.
Yeah. 100%.
And I love the Arctic Cats too, but just with anything, we got to keep developing to keep up with everything else.
100%.
So, which looks good for the upcoming, with that new Catalyst chassis and everything that they came out with. That looks really promising. So, exciting to see where that ends up, So I don't feel that it'll be this year. I don't believe it all will be this year, but I could definitely see the following that the snowcrossers could be very well racing the Catalyst chassis.
Yeah, I believe so too, because they race it on the cross country with Zach Herfindahl.
Yep.
And he's dominating with it.
Yeah.
He is straight dominating with that sled. So I think they should, I'm not saying that they should wait, but I think they should really put the afterburners on that sled.
Yep.
Because it's proven already. It's proven. It's proven to win in cross country. And it's no different than snowcross. Well, there is a difference in snowcross between cross country and snowcross, but look at it. It's a platform that's already won. Yep. Take it to the track already. You know, it's already been through its developing stages with Zach. Bring it out.
Yep.
And maybe we'll go to heydays and they'll be like, all right, we're dropping the sled for snowcross.
Yep.
Who knows?
Yep.
But you would know more than that because you're with Kraychek. And they would have more intel on that than I would.
Yep.
But who knows? Hopefully they don't wait too long to where
I think, I there's a very good, possibility that they're already working on it, and stuff, and kind of know some things and everything already. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into making a snowcross sled, So I think, ultimately this is a production sled that, with anything we gotta, you turn it into a snowcross sled, which takes a lot more time.
Yeah.
The amount of abuse that they put on these machines.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even imagine what a consumer sled would look like if, a pro took one of these on the track. There'd be nothing left of it.
No, absolutely not.
So I think they're very well on the way of developing that. It just takes time.
Yeah.
So yeah, be interested to see, in the upcoming years on what that machine and when this chassis that we're running now came out in 2018, holy crap, was that?
Wasn't it earlier than that?
Or was it?
I think it was 2016.
No, 18 was that chassis right there. That one I believe, had the Suzuki motor in it, and that was the chassis. Before that, there was I can't remember what the chassis was.
Yeah, but didn't
called.
Tucker Hibbert design that sled? That was a sled that was designed for him.
It very well could be. I'm talking for like the whole, everybody got them in 2018.
Okay.
That was one of the best sleds, and it was one of Articat's best years out there. Boy, did they win. Also, coincidentally, was Textron's first year owning Articat at that time. So, you see that where Textron comes in and buys a company and wants to make it, profitable, and then all of a sudden they come out and everybody's winning on cats. And I couldn't even imagine the contingencies they paid out that year, with the amount of winning they had.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I mean, I believe that was the first year of the longer track on there and stuff, and yeah, it was a dominant machine. But then everybody else put in their development, and they came out with good machines themselves too.
100%. Innovation is always key when you want to dominate a series or whatever kind of industry that you're going after.
Yep.
Look at KTM.
Yeah.
They've been dominating for the last couple of years with Cooper Webb and a whole bunch of other people, but now Yamaha is on top too.
Yeah.
They're
right there.
They're right there with the star team, and it's crazy because Yamaha couldn't win a title. They couldn't even win a race at one point when they had their factory effort, and now that they are with Star, it's like boom.
Yeah.
And that goes back to having the right people, having the right team, having the right support and development to create that atmosphere that you need to win.
Yep.
So yeah, Articat was dominant, and I think they will get back to their dominant ways.
I think so too.
At it with due time.
Yep.
And maybe this new platform does that for them.
Yep.
And that'll be their winning success. Because they put the time and the effort in.
Yep. And that's what it takes. You see these other manufacturers that did the same thing. When they stuck the time into it, it's just like big things happen.
Right.
And they are fast.
Yeah. 100%.
So I mean, we see that a lot of weekends. Is just that they're all of them. They're all good. And some of them other years are better than others, and it just seems that the other ones catch back up again or pass them up. So it's good. It's good to have multiple manufacturers out there, just because they're constantly making each other improve.
Yeah.
For the
competition.
Better. Yep.
Competition.
Yep.
And it kind of sucks now that I didn't really touch on it when it came out, but Yamaha pulling their program after 2025. Yeah,
it sounds like they're pretty much done in the snowmobile industry, at 2025. I know they didn't have a lot to do with, the racing anymore or anything like that, but it's always sad to see another manufacturer leaving, even if it's not in the sport we're in, you just don't like seeing it. But, everything, as we know, is everything's about money. And if you're not making money, we're not going to do it.
Right.
So, I mean, I can understand it. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but I guess we'll keep moving with the three that we have. Yeah,
because it sucked. It really sucked. Robbie ran on the Yamaha back then when he was with Boss, and they tried coming back. They did. I do believe a couple people told me that Yamaha did do a couple ice ovals last year with a couple people.
Yep.
But it never really stuck. And I don't know if they're going to try again this coming season before they fully get out of snowmobiles, but who knows?
Yep.
It's all in due time. But moving on from that, it does suck to see another manufacturer kind of leave, because that could have been more money for the racers. It could have been another opportunity for just people to have another manufacturer.
Yeah.
You know. But let's kind of transition into Levi's Tri-5.
Yeah.
Because I attended that race. I saw you guys there. You had the thruple.
Yeah. Yeah.
The TMNT kind of thing
Yep.
that you guys were doing, which was super, super cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an awesome race. We've been competing in this now, I want to say this is our second year. There would have been the year prior to that, but I think I'm pretty sure it got canceled because of the weather. It was supposed to be at ERX, and we ended up raining, didn't have any snow.
Right.
So we did one last year at Ski Gull up in Brainerd. Kind of got our feet wet there, just kind of figuring what it's all about. And we did more of just a sprint, and where this year we were like, we want to do the Tri-5. So I got Chris from over at Black Label, and he wrapped our sled all in Ninja Turtles. And then we, myself and my friends, went on Amazon and bought some costumes. And full-on Ninja Turtles, we were out there, and we raced it. And the amount of people that get involved with this is holy crap. There is so many riders out there, and when you see the starting line and that many, and it's a running start with a dead engine start.
Yeah.
And seeing some people wipe out on the way to their snowmobiles just running through the snow, that's kind of humorous by itself. But it's not only just the racing, but it's just you got to have the part too. You got to look the part, you got to race it the whole time, and you got to stand out somehow to make the judges see you.
Right.
Well, like we were talking about earlier, it's just like you just try to be as funny as you possibly can out there, which a couple of my friends that that race with isn't a far fetch for them because it's just their normal personalities.
Right.
Yeah, it was a good time. I love the cost for it just because Levi and Kristen, Lavallee both put this on for Wings for Life. So it's another thing that all of the, entrance fees and everything goes to Wings for Life. And I want to say it was around like $28,000 they raised in just that one event for Wings for Life. So that was phenomenal for them to do that.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, the whole day was fun. The weather kind of sucked just because it was raining, but that's what also made it memorable because there was like a lagoon at the finish line. And I remember coming through at one point during the race, and I seen a snowmobile that you could only see half of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, only the hood was sticking out. The whole rest of it was submerged. So that's how deep the water was there because it was at a ski hill, as you know, up at Giants Ridge. And where does the water pool in the spring? At the bottom.
Yeah.
And that's where our racetrack was. Part of it. Not all of it, but part of it.
Right.
But I honestly thought that's what made it so fun, and that's what made it so memorable was because of the conditions.
100%.
If it's always perfect and all this stuff, we tend to forget things. But when you have situations like that, not only it was like the big amount of water, it was raining, but then you win it at the same time.
Right.
It was so fun. I mean, we had such a good time, and that's why I have it hanging up on the wall over there. We got our medal, pictures, everything from that day, just because we're going to remember that, forever. That was a fun day. Raycer was one of the judges. Lavallee's asked Raycer to be a judge again this year.
No kidding, I didn't know that.
So he gets to sit there and he gets to help judge, but he did tell me, he's like, I didn't get to even pick who won. They already said you guys because of the way you guys dressed and acted out there and everything. So he's like, I didn't even have a say in it.
That's funny.
So yeah, it was a good day. I had my mom up there too. She came and was standing with Raycer, and she said her cheeks hurt because of laughing all day at the people out there. She said it was so fun, and being with everybody there, it's such a cool environment with those guys.
100%.
So yeah, I hope they continue to keep doing that and raising money for it and doing that because so many people, enjoy this part of it.
100%.
So it was a little later in the year because, snowcross didn't end up till, the first part of April,
Right.
At the National. And then I believe we had Easter. And then we went, then we finally could do the Tri-5, which luckily it was in the northern part of the state.
Right.
And they still had snow.
Yeah. A little bit at least.
A little bit, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because the one day it was raining.
Yeah.
It was downpouring. I'm like, oh boy, how is this going to turn out?
Yep.
But like you said, it was such a fun race to watch. I was like, oh my God, what's happening over there? Something's happening over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and my buddy Ryan from CNA, their sled broke, and then Levi was like, you just ride our sled.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
like, that's the cool part of it, and I was just so shocked on how many sleds could make it through that big, huge monsoon of water.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, holy crap. And if it was stuck, they'd get it out.
Yep.
And then it would start, and then it would keep going. It was just like, these guys are unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I had a couple of my employees decide they want to do it. I told them about it, and they wanted to race it too. So they bought a sled for that. They did practice and everything, and they went out there. And I remember at one point they said the ski fell off.
Oh, no.
So I think they rigged it up with a screwdriver. They put the ski deck on, they put the screwdriver in, bent it over, and they called it, and it worked.
Holy crap.
So that's yeah, they had a blast doing it too, and they said we will be back for sure. That was so much fun.
That's awesome.
That's why, I mean, I'm so happy that they came up with a race like this, because it's a non-pressure, it's just a fun day, and you get a lot of people enjoy doing this, and you're doing it for a good cause at the same time.
100%. So aside from the Tri-5, did you ever do the ERX ditch banger?
That's on the bucket list to do that. I'd really like to try that. A couple of other friends like Troy Harbody, good friends with those guys, and and watching him out there, with the videos. We were just getting back from our vacation, so I didn't get to see it, but I saw videos that they were sending, and he was dominating. He was doing pretty dang good in there until he blew the belt right on the final when he was out front. But he said it was so fun. So yeah, I really think that we should build a sled and do that this year and see what happens there. But from the videos that I saw there, wow, what a turnout.
There was a lot of people.
Somebody, I think ERX should continue doing stuff like that, because obviously, as you saw with the turnout, a lot of people like that stuff.
100%.
It's more affordable, people can do it, and it's just a good time. So.
And it's cool that a lot of snowcross guys do it too.
Yeah.
They used to race, like Andrew Carlson, he races it. He was actually at the Tri-5 too.
Oh, yeah.
So
I think he got an award for put in the most laps?
I don't know.
I'd say they gave him I remember Carlson getting a separate award for something, but I don't think he quit. He was just on a rail the whole day.
He was fast.
Yeah.
He was fast. And he was, he was very consistent too.
Yep.
But nevertheless, it was like, it's cool to see that those guys are not just taking snowcross, like the Nationals, seriously and just focusing on that. They're doing other things.
Yeah.
Like if you look at Adam Peterson, that dude is sending it just like Levi. Doing the Red Bull stuff. It's like, and he's making a name for these guys and for himself. That, it's not just about being professional. It's also about being fun and going out and enjoying just being a snowmobile athlete. And just wanting to ride your snowmobile. That's cool. That's the cool part. And that's makes it memorable too.
Yep.
So
yeah, hopefully they keep going with that, and it's good to see those guys that are, like you said, they're doing more than just the the racing and everything. They're having fun with it. I love when you see like the big national pros at the regionals too. I love seeing them at the regional level helping out with that and racing it. I love I saw Cole and Maylene Coutu last year, a few times at the races, and I love, that they come out, they race it, I saw Maylene, she was racing with the guys, out there, and it's just like, that's so awesome to see that,
100%.
And I hope, and that's one thing with the regional circuit too, I really wish people would take that a little more, and race more of those, because you're helping contribute to it, draw more people to it, and to me, it's practice is practice, I don't think, maybe so, but a lot of people don't push it as hard as they can in practice compared to a race.
Two are too different.
Yeah, because it always seems like you push a little bit harder in a race. And then say, regionals are not as hard. Yeah, but that first lap is. First lap, everybody's still going for it, and then you can taper off or whatever. But I just think the regional part of it, and that's kind of what we did with Raycer too, is the regional racing is that we did it all. We did, with him, we did the ERX Grassroots Series, we did the Minnesota Regional Series, and we did the National Series. We kept racing all the time. We never quit.
Right.
And I think that's what contributed a lot, not only to like David Otto's clutching, that he did for Raycer, but then the Raycer's hole shots. He was just so lightning fast on his hole shots because he practiced them constantly in races scenarios, not like in practice, but race scenarios. And I think that does a lot. So I hope I hope the regional series continues to go, and it's just more a laid-back weekend. It's more of just, it's fun, you're hanging out with your family, your friends, and you get to race at the same time at these nice venues that they put in front of us.
100%. Yeah, because they go to Canterbury, I think, the weekend after we're there for the Nationals. So
you still get to use the facility. I love Canterbury. I love it 100%. Summer, winter. I could go there all the time. I just love the facility. They get to go to ERX. They had, I think, a couple times last year, and then we had Fargo also. So that brings you to another subject too that I was going to kind of see is like the season this year. Obviously Fargo's out. where are we going?
Yeah.
You know, there's some rumors going around for some good stuff that I've been, hearing, and I would love to go back to Duluth. You know, that would be so cool to see. And I'd like to see what Snowcross has in mind this year for what we're going to do.
Right.
So,
what rumors have you heard?
I've kind of heard, here and there, I've heard that they're really working on Duluth.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I've heard that from Carl Shabinsky.
Okay.
He said, so I'm sure that I'm not supposed to say this, but whatever. I don't care. It's whatever. You know, it's a rumor.
Yep.
But he told me that they wanted Snowcross in 2025.
Yep.
Because they got new owners over there now.
Yep.
And they're actually redoing the chalet.
Okay.
So it's more efficient, I think. But they do want Snowcross back.
Perfect.
But Carl is like, why wait?
Yeah.
Who cares if the chalet's not ready yet?
Yeah.
Let's still get people to go to Snowcross and let's have it there.
Yeah.
Because everybody remembers it. That is like one of the most historic places to have snowmobile racing.
Yep.
You know, so continue on what else
Yeah,
you've heard.
basically I just heard, from different, sources and stuff that they're trying for Duluth to get it there, not for the opener, but for the season ender. And
Also a double whammy.
no, for just to end the season instead of Dubuque, Iowa, having it there. Now, like I said, these are just rumors and these are just, people that hearsay. But
Right.
If that would be the case, I think that would be pretty awesome to end your season at Duluth. At Spirit Mountain. It's a northern state, too, so there's a better chance that the snow conditions are going to be a lot better and stuff. But then, I have mixed reviews. I personally, myself, really enjoyed Duluth at the beginning of the season, just knowing that you go to Thanksgiving and you get to go to Duluth tonight.
Heck yeah.
But some people are like, I've had enough of those years. And I can understand that.
Yeah.
But if we're not going to do it there, I would be totally for, finishing the season in Duluth at Spirit Mountain.
Yeah.
So that's one of them, but I really haven't heard. I've been kind of asking around for like the opener. I heard that for sure we're going to have a December race, but where? Mm-hmm. So are we going to go back to Glendon, right outside of Fargo like we used to? Basically where we've raced out of mud, and everything there.
Yeah.
Or are we going to go somewhere else? It's I think one year was it COVID that we started. Did we start at Canterbury? In January, I think one year we did.
We did, yes.
So, it's kind of a toss-up. It's really, it gets, especially around the heydays times, that's where it starts getting really interesting and really exciting to see social media pop up because you never know what's going to come up next, where it's like our schedule's coming out, who's signing with who,
Right.
So, that's my favorite time of year is when it starts there.
100%.
So
I can't agree more.
And just with the amount of stuff that's coming out now in July already, holy moly, it just seems like daily we're getting news of new teams and new riders going to different teams and stuff. So it's been a fun year, exciting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, social media is definitely a winning ticket when it comes to building excitement.
Yes. Yep.
It's bad in a way, but it's good in a way.
Yeah, it's one way of getting it out. Before social media and stuff, it just you wouldn't even hardly know until you went to the races that year.
Right.
But now with social media, you get to stay up to date on all that stuff, and follow the pages like that.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. Another rumor that I did hear, and it did come from Carl, is that they're trying to get Geneva back.
Oh, like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that one just as much. I couldn't even tell you which one, Duluth or Geneva.
Right.
Which one's better for myself. I just, we've had a lot of good experiences at both of them, so I really couldn't say which one I like or the other. Good. Geneva always has that feel, for the end of the year and stuff. That was always a good one to have. And just, so I don't know, Duluth or Geneva. That'd be a hard one to pick to finish the season. Most people I think would probably say Geneva just because that's tradition.
Yeah.
We've always finished in Geneva.
Right.
But it's interesting what it's going to be. I heard, obviously some things happened at Geneva, that last thing, and I think contributed to not going there anymore.
Right.
So I hope they can get past that and bring us back. That would be pretty cool. But again, that's not our, it's just something that we hope for, and they got to see, they got to work all that out behind closed doors.
Yeah, maybe a stricter policy on people riding four-wheelers.
I would say,
just keep it down to a minimum or don't do it at all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or
have a trolley that goes back and forth.
Yeah.
Like that would probably solve all.
And and a lot of things like that they did. You know, they had the people that were bringing the snowmobiles and stuff up there with the trolley. They had trolleys for people and everything. Just certain things probably shouldn't have happened in the order that they did.
Yeah.
But accidents do happen. It could have happened anywhere. You know, I don't know the whole story behind it. You know, again, you just hear what happened, and who knows if that was the truth, anyways.
Right.
But yeah, it's just that we just got to be safe out there, especially in the pits, and things like that happening probably shouldn't have ever happened, you know, 100%. In the first place, you know, so it's just that it's kind of like snowmobiles out on the track is like certain things you can control, you know, and I feel that this is one thing that we could have controlled a little better there, but again, accidents happen.
Yeah.
What do we do?
They do. Yep. So is there anything else you'd like to touch on?
I think we pretty much got discussed everything, you know, so other than that, just appreciate you having me on the show and everything like this. We, you know, Raycer, myself, my wife, my kids, and friends all follow your pages and everything. We really enjoy the content and everything on, so I hope you continue doing it, you know, and I really hope it's, you know, help building the sport and get more attention on the sport, and I hope more riders, you know, or future riders see this, and, you know, by seeing these podcasts and videos and stuff you post online, you know, I hope they inspires them to want to try snowmobile racing or any type of racing that is, or even come and spectate. You know, come out to the races and check them out. A lot of people that come to the races that have never before, you just watch their eyes and it's just like they're in awe on these machines that are going this high in the air, and they don't believe it. Right. You know, even like some friends that came with last year to ERX, and they had that massive jump out in front of the finish line jump, and they were doing that, and I mean, they were soaring, and people that have even seen races before have said like, wow, are they going high? And it's just like, I think if people seeing it in person too is so much different than just seeing it online. So come out to the races, you know, support it, and I think once they see it, they'll be addicted.
100%. 100%. Yeah, that jump was huge at ERX. Even I was like in awe when I saw it. I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like they were 20 plus feet in the air.
Yeah.
Traveling, I mean, to me, it looked like close to 90 to 100 feet.
Yeah.
It's just like, I ain't doing it.
No,
I'm not doing it.
Right, exactly. And I threw the GoPro on a couple riders, and even Colton Krajcik, your teammate, and he came up short on it, and I was just like, nope, that's going to hurt. I'm good. You do that if you want. No, thank you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that triple out by the highway 169, that one was big enough the way it was, that big triple. And then they did the one by the finish line, and then they had that one that shot you to the moon right in the center of the track.
Right
and
by the pond.
Colton was the first one to hit that too, and I'm like, dude, you're nuts. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, bikes are a whole different thing. You know, it definitely doesn't faze me when it comes to bikes, but sleds, no way.
Right.
I'll let you do that.
100%.
But he can take it. He can fly out there with that thing.
He's young.
He's young, and that body can handle it. I just turned 40 this year, and I'm doing whatever I can just to stay healthy.
Right.
Stay healthy, stay strong, so I can race again tomorrow.
100%. Yeah, and hopefully win that championship.
Oh, that would be sweet. I'd top 3, I would love it. Like I said, if I can just get top 3, hit a few podiums here and there, you know, raise some money, you know, I'd feel complete after that.
But standing up on top of that podium is definitely going to feel good.
Nothing ever compares to that, you know, especially like a national podium, you know, especially the first time, like last year at Deadwood, when winning Deadwood and getting on the number 1 spot. There is nothing that compares to a national podium up on top. And, you know, we always kind of gave Raycer a little bit of crap, you know, about, you know, because he doesn't like to talk a lot in front of people and things like that. That's just who he is. And for talking on the podium for speeches and then getting up there yourself, and you got the bright lights shining in your face. You got the whole crowd looking at you. You know, you got, you know, I believe it was Josie Christian who had the microphone up to you and asked you questions, and it's just like, yeah, it's a whole different feeling up on the top up there and talking. But it was a lot of fun. Raised a lot of money that night, and yeah, I definitely will remember that forever. That's why we got that photo up there from that night was from Deadwood with the team and I and our owner John Krajcik right in dead center right there to make it all possible. So that was a fun night, and definitely remember that forever.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, well, we're going to wrap up here. Like I said, is there anything else you want to touch on?
No, I think we pretty much touched base on everything, and really appreciate you putting us on here.
Absolutely. Hopefully we can have Raycer on.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah, I'll keep talking. He is working right now. He is a draftsman now. He draws all buildings, housing, stuff like that on the computer, and so
Wow.
he's doing really well at that stuff. And yeah, I'm sure in the future we talk to him on that stuff. Like I said, he's the man of few words and everything.
Okay.
But yeah, getting a few, having a little conversation with him, and I think he'd be for that.
100%. And him telling the stories too in his perspective would be really cool too.
For sure.
Yeah. So, like I said, this was episode 13. Ryan Frank on the podcast. If you guys are watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you guys are watching on all the major podcast platforms, definitely hit that follow button, and we'll see you guys in the next one. If you guys enjoyed this podcast, hit that like button, and like I said, we'll see you in the next one. Thank you, Ryan.
Yep, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.